Chris Morin with HVAC Pro Blog, and this week we're going to talk about if you need more people, or maybe you just need to be more productive. Without further ado, here's the training. All right, how many times have you heard this? Don't worry, I have a bit of a better slant on it by the end, if you stick with me, okay? If you could find a way to be just 20% more efficient, then the math doesn't lie, and you shouldn't need to hire that fifth technician or installer. Although I'm going to recommend a few ways for your teams to possibly get more efficient, the real issue is you should be making the most per billable hour that you possibly can. This means identifying waste and knowing when to walk away from that high-ticket but profit-killing labor risky service or install. Are you ready? Let's get to service. I'm going to start with the service department. As most of you already know, this is where I have a personal history and passion. As a first-time service manager, there was so much waste, I never got a chance to clip all of the branches before I moved on for my career. I found that organization was a key trait of a service technician, and the most organized had wasted the least resources like parts, materials, gas, time, you know. When I was a technician, there was a spot for everything in my well-kept van. This provided for an easy visual method to clean out, restock, maintain my van every day. I took great personal pride in the appearance, as I knew this was the first impression for me and our company. I'm not gonna blow smoke here. I never washed the exterior of my van enough, in my opinion. But that's why they make them white, right? Anyhow, disorganized vans waste so much time and materials. Piles of dirty air filters, buckets of pipe fittings, and mixed trays of screws, wire nuts, you name it. They get tossed around during the day by frantic technicians that always seem to show up late for the next call. Here's how we corrected this. We instituted a drive directly to your first call policy. This means the technicians drove their vans home every night. These were mobile billboards in our communities anyway. To do this, we had to improve communication and service ticketing, plus make sure the trucks had everything they needed. If you currently have a trust issue, maybe install a GPS. Make sure you have written truck stock. We identified about 80% of the most used parts, air filters, refrigerant, everything you needed to complete almost all service calls. Yeah, some parts are expensive, but it was more expensive for our company if we didn't have them. At the end of every day, techs would turn in their service tickets, grab their replacement inventory, and tickets and parts for tomorrow. This constant check and balance on truck stock avoided the costly runs to the supply house for all the common pieces, which we continued to track and refine. All right, that leads into inventory. There had to be at least 2 of everything we needed that was on the 4 service vans in the office. Just-in-time inventory, increased shipping costs, or travel time to pick them up, decreased profits to a loss many times in the service department. Service coordinator would gather parts and tickets for the next day from inventory, noting inventory changes for weekly, sometimes even daily orders. Of course, for items like air filters, there was a low end count that would trigger an order. Large, light commercial maintenance contracts were ordered based on the job, and we didn't pull that from inventory at least a week ahead. Weekly service meetings helped. This provided an opportunity for truck inspections, updates on incomplete work, and even training for new equipment or callback topics. I found this weekly meeting built some camaraderie with team members who would otherwise feel like they're on an island because they were out working by themselves each day. All right, installation. Where to start here, right? Since the revenue from installations can vary so greatly across jobs, managing your install department by job costing and identifying waste like materials and time is the quickest way to impact your profit. Of course, you could hide all these problems by increasing your price, which a good sales team can answer the price objections much easier than in service. Who's to say you can't do both? Right now, the best companies are enduring unprecedented times where demand is outpacing the supply chain, and their labor capabilities, scheduling installations as much as 4 months into the future. If we're not careful in managing this, which doesn't mean adding people for a season due to unplanned growth, then the large fluctuations may not exactly be a blessing for the company. Here are a few best practices that can help. I think you need an installation manual or a standard that establishes a minimum standard that can be used to train and grade installers. Basically, with the inclusion of images, a how-to guide on the standard of how we do it. Even the sales team could use this in their process. How about a written inventory? Having what's needed for every job, as well as common items that could be damaged, is another key way to keep production on the job site, not running for parts and pieces. This is best accomplished by employing a shop manager or a project manager. This person may be in charge of job orders, inventory for installations, equipment staging, and even overage returns. I continually see small shops hold on to unique installation inventory as they think they'll need it eventually. Unfortunately, most of this is never used and typically gets damaged. A shop manager could easily cover the cost of their salary just by these tasks, which will make sales, installation, and other departments more productive, along with recovering the waste in parts ordering and damages. How about a planned installation crew expansion, concentrating on pairing apprentices with senior installers or those that are licensed in areas requiring specific skill sets and periods can cause planned growth when the apprentice is ready to run their job sites. Depending on the types of equipment being installed, some of this crew splitting can be easier than others. I think the industry has thought that the lead installer on a job needs to be qualified to install everything the company offers, and this slows the progression of their employees. As an example, installing a new ducted system in an attic requires a different skill and experience than a whole home ductless system. Next up, marketing. Right now, the cost of acquiring a client is likely at an all-time low in most American residential markets. Over the last several years, a conservative cost per lead I've seen ranges from $150 to as much as $500 per lead. When the lead is for a low-cost, low-profit job, it becomes very tough to justify such marketing. I hear this from contractors almost every week. The thought that some marketing just isn't worth it, and I wish I could do insert product here all the time. We then look at the marketing plans, a term loosely used here, only to find out they're advertising crazy low-price, low-profit jobs. This type of marketing is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're or marketing to a customer, if they would like cheap maintenance or lowest price installation, guess who's calling? Stop marketing for your lowest net profit per hour jobs. Yes, this requires job costing. You need to do it. Job costing will expose so many issues within your company and likely change the way you go to market. Stop marketing for jobs that tie up your installation crews for days or weeks when you probably have a quicker turnaround work that you have less labor risk selling. Increase your marketing spend with the money for the items that you stocked on the jobs that are the most profitable and least risky. These are likely the jobs you want. Things like ductless heat pumps, furnace and AC replacements, rooftop replacements, you know the ones. Of course, this varies based on the experience of your teams, what you're charging, you know. Dare I say, most residential companies in the continental United States right now do not have a labor issue. Instead, they have a productivity problem. Now, this is time to become more organized. Plan for sustainable growth, institute realistic inventory and truck stocks, and advertise for your most profitable jobs. I know a company in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, that's deferring all low-profit jobs for work at least 6 months if the customer is willing to wait for them. They're unable to afford to bring an additional technician as there's a labor war right now within a decreasing and defined number of techs on Cape Cod. Never mind what the shop expansion will require during record high real estate prices. So they're instead being more productive. They sell the high profitable job during the largest home services boom in recent history. Thanks for joining me this week at HVAC Pro Blog, where we provide advice for residential system design, quality installation, and system diagnosis. I'll see you soon.